Hello everybody, today's video is just going to be dedicated to a world tour of my 5-month-old Minecraft world with a friend of mine, heylx. So I think the only fair way to start this tour would be with our base. I would like to clarify that since we're in 1.21, which just released, we don't have Optifine, so it does normally look a lot better with shaders, and future videos and streams will be in shaders, but for this we're just going to have to do normal. So this is our base. It was kind of just inspired by a hobbit hole, sort of. So we have made a lot of modifications to it over time, but it has mainly been this. Humble abode of Sandro and Andro. You can ring that bell over there. Copper door, that one's a new addition. That's our old smelting area, our old chest area, my llama collection that I put up there a while ago. A little bit of an armor collection. We have a lot more armor nowadays, so it doesn't really have any value anymore. This is where we put our end loot. Um, yeah, we took most of it out now that it's in the place. Oh, we do have a lot left here. That's interesting. So our flag, Georgia. That's the country, the Republic of Georgia, not the state. The country me and heylx are from. So this is our bedroom. Got some heads here. He figured out the whole redstone system to get items flung down there. That's our old nether room that we don't use anymore. And our beds and some ender pearl stasis chambers, because when you click it, it teleports you there. Oh, that must have been his pearl, not mine. Well, anyway, moving on over here. If we go down over here, we have our music disc collection. I am currently working on collecting them all, and I have a whole creeper setup that I will show you guys later. I also have a lot of spares. Here is our little not our ender, gosh. Here's our little potion brewing area. And over here is our smelting area, as you can see. I like to keep it hidden, but like you can see when it's on, it's lit up, and when it's off, it isn't. Over here, we have our... Actually, I'm going to show you the trash system later, but I will show you there's a little barrel over there, and the hoppers lead down, and they go through this whole area where if I throw some trash away, it will send it down this water stream. And I'll show you, and this is our old area where we would use minecarts and rails for it, and yeah, we stopped using it because it was incredibly inefficient and very slow. But yeah. Now, moving on from down here, we can go back up. Just a bunch of resource boxes for our subway station, little thing there, and we can move on. Now this is our nether portal. I just wanted to make it look like it's a little like an infestation from the nether. It's pretty regular, not much special about it. Here's our villager area. This is where we breed our villagers. I have not used this in a while, but it's obviously not meant for aesthetics, but it does the job. It does it actually pretty well, actually. Now this is our first iron farm over here. I like to disguise our farms and buildings because it just makes them look like factories, which is pretty cool in my opinion. We got some iron over here, but we don't use it anymore. We have a much better one. We have a whole farming district that I can show you guys later. This is an auto smelter that he built, and I'm supposed to demolish this very soon because it is not very aesthetically pleasing, as you can see. This right here is our little horse ranch. I built this a very long time ago before we got our elytras, and I do not use it anymore. Now moving on over here, this is the OG wheat field that I would sell to villagers. And this is a little windmill he built, and he copied it straight off of a YouTube tutorial, so, I do not count it as a true creative build, but whatever. And it's a little out of place. This is our gunpowder farm. The sorting system broke for this, and we have another one built in our ocean area, but early game, this was very, very helpful. Over here we have a tree stump, and this tree stump is meant to disguise our wood farm. So going inside, oh, lag. So going inside, it's, again, pretty ugly on the inside, but it gets us wood, and it breaks all the time, and it takes hours to fix it. So it's very efficient, but it breaks so easily. Here's our sugarcane farm, which I have to click a button to get it to work again. But yeah. Moving on back to the main area of our base, one of the first builds over here is this bridge, and if you cross it, you enter the peninsula. I'll show you guys why we call it the peninsula on a map, but moving on, our first building on the peninsula was this villager area where we would trade iron. Um, yeah, if you have an efficient iron farm, it's very great for emeralds. Very good. Now over there, the trash system I was showing you, all of that, we have 3 different trash systems set up throughout the world, and they all 3 different garbages, and they all lead over here. The new additions are very ugly because we are not meant to use this. We're actually demolishing this soon because we are building a storage system. But as you can see, just all our trash ends up over here. Honestly, we actually use it as a storage system and not a trash system. So that is a bit of a minus. In our past world, we also had a trash system and we used it as a storage system too. It's kind of an L. Moving on over here, we have our little librarian area. I made sure I counted it so exactly every single one of these slots it would make up 1 book, and it has exactly the right amount of room for all of the enchantments in Minecraft. Here's our little pond with an axolotl in there. We used to have a dragon egg there, but it mysteriously disappeared one day, and we have no idea where the dragon egg is now. So, yeah. This is our little quarry. We put some ores here. In here, you can actually go down with this minecart, and this goes down all the way until bedrock, and is a full mined out chunk. We actually use posters a lot that we import into the game, just for extra immersiveness. Now, if we go into here, over here we have a huge area, and this was actually, this is where he built a bunch of machines that he would use to mine, diamonds. I don't think he does it anymore, but it's always waiting down here to be reused again, which is how we got so rich in diamonds, actually. Here's the little crane I built for the quarry, just to make it look cooler. I don't know. My friend heylx, he doesn't like it very much, but I think it's pretty decent. Moving on over here, a lot of these guys did get zombified, so that is not great. But most of our cartographers still work, and we still sell them paper every now and then, but the iron industry is a lot more efficient for emeralds, so we don't really do that much anymore. Now, this personally is one of my favorite buildings. I know it doesn't look super intimidating from the outside or super grandiose from the outside, but it is a very important building to me because I spent hours of time making these maps, because they actually did take me a very, very long time. This is not updated. I have not updated this part of the map in a while, so it's a little outdated. I will update in a while, but the reason we call this area the peninsula, now we can reveal it, is because it is an extremely long river peninsula where rivers surround it, and up until this point, it's just a huge, huge peninsula. It just barely cuts it there and just barely cuts it there, but it still works. These are some extra maps where I messed up, and over here is a mega map of our whole area. I describe it as, I used to call it like the Fortnite map because it kind of looks like it, but obviously it isn't. It's just kind of a huge island with a bunch of rivers, oceans on both coasts. It has 2 coasts, bi-coastal, I guess. Pretty cool. Up here we have a little enchanting area that is not really used anymore. And a book. Build ideas. Okay. Moving on over here, we have the second floor, some cool stuff over here. Just tried to make it look very cluttered, inspired by Dallas Med. I used to have a little list here where I would list all the builds in the world, but for some reason that also mysteriously, is this it? Yes, I don't know how that ended up there, and this is severely outdated too. We have built a lot after that. But yeah, this is the cool little attic, I guess, of the map house. Now, to get out of here, we have this building. Now this used to be deep slate alone, but I thought it was very ugly when it was deep slate alone, so I added this sandstone, and I think the sandstone makes it look infinitely better, like so much better. And I have not extended the pathway to here because originally I had plans of expanding all throughout the peninsula, but that kind of stopped after we moved on to a different build that I'll show you guys later. We got some diamond decorated pots here, dragon eggs, kind of cool. Redstone door that I built by myself. Very impressed that I was able to do that because I'm not very good with redstone. We got some heads over here, and we got a ton of loot, and we're kind of working on like filling out the whole area over here. A ton of elytras, ton of tools. We have like way more tools than is shown there. More elytras over here. We get all 99% of the stuff you're seeing here. No, not 99. 90% of the stuff you're seeing here we got from End City looting. So I mean, if you're looking to stock up on a lot of stuff that you'll never use, I'd recommend End City looting. Moving on to the second floor, we have our big collection of wealth. Now, I've not updated this in a while. Obviously, we have so much diamonds now, which we can't show here because we'd rather keep them in chests, and we'd rather not turn them into blocks because that makes them less valuable actually. Obviously, the only valuable thing here is emeralds. The rest of these guys, they're like farmable. Well, we do have an emerald farm technically, but it's not very efficient in collecting emeralds. Now, getting out of here, we have to fly all the way over here. Actually, no, first we have to fly over here, because I have to show you guys. Oh, lag. Because I have to show you guys our little creeper farming setup. So what happens is I open the door over here, and the guy sees me. And I have a TNT over here, and then he sees me. He hits me. He hits the TNT with fire because it goes through that fire. It drops down here. We have a ton of creepers down here. The creepers die. They die because of his arrow, so they all drop music discs. So it's a very efficient music farm actually. And I'm scared I'm gonna get struck by lightning, so I'm gonna put a totem of him dying on. So over here we have our cute little squid farm. It's pretty simple and it's pretty small, but it works like a charm. If we go down here into the collection system, it's gonna be. I'll show you. This took less. It was filled up until about like this row, and that took me about 5 minutes, 10 minutes of AFKing maybe. So it's a very efficient squid farm. I got it from Shulkercraft, I think. So that's pretty cool. So heading back to our peninsula, you'll see something really cool off into the distance. That is a statue, and that statue is dedicated to my Minecraft skin. I built it. Unfortunately, it is not pixel for pixel, but I think it resembles me pretty well. Like it is like I did get the details in, but the texturing is not pixel for pixel. But I might change that. I am thinking of changing that. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're done with the peninsula now. Actually, no, we're not. Well, you can come down here. I decorated this pretty well. It kind of looks like a memorial, as if I died. I am alive, so that's pretty cool. Here's a little, like, water thing for, the energy that's collected from water. And just a little dock area over here, just over the river. We have another bridge over here, and if you cross it, you will end up, and you will see this strange wall. And if you keep following this path, you will notice that this wall is actually encloses a settlement, a bit of a village. So this is kind of inspired by Jamestown, like the colony settlement of Jamestown. I was reading about it, and I decided why not just make it in Minecraft. So this is meant to be abandoned, obviously, because this is a historic site, but it's pretty cool. So it's just like a market area we have over here. A largely overgrown farm, a well, little barrel area. We have our church over here, pretty cool. Maybe we should add a Bible here. Get out of the church, you'll notice that we just have a ton of these neighborhoods. Some of them have doors, but most of the doors have rotted away, as well as the windows. So, because it's so old, but, they're still here. This is meant to be like a larger building, perhaps for an orphanage or a large family, maybe a town place. Now, if we leave over here we have our, oh yeah, let me show you guys what it looks like from the top. That's what it looks like from the top. Pretty cool shape. Originally, this was not a walled city. We had one pillar here, and I built this pillar because we'd have raids over here. I had a villager buried underground. You can see the blood of the fallen soldiers. We'd have a raid over here, and I would use this pillar to shoot arrows without constantly getting, killed. And then I just decided to build more walls, and I realized, oh, I'm kind of like building like a little walled area, and then I started building houses, and it turned into this whole little mini city. Over here is our full diamond beacon. This is not fake. I don't want to dig into it because it'll ruin the effect it's giving off, but it is here. I'll show you guys like this way. This is legit. It's not like I didn't contribute to this almost at all. I had very little contributions to this. My friend heylx, he did most of the work, so thank you to him. We will address this absolute gigantic building later, but for now I want to focus on our metro system. So, obviously metro with the signs, I'm very impressed that I was able to do that pixel art so well. I don't think it's great, but still, it's decent for my standards. So, this is our metro system, our metro building. I think it looks very good, actually, for my building skills. So we walk down here. I was also impressed by how well I was. It took me a while to do the interior designing for this, but I'm still impressed by how well I was able to do it. So it's a little chandelier that took me 3 hours. I don't know why it's not even that good. So if we go over here, as you can see, that line is furnished. That line is not furnished because this has not been used yet. It has never been used. There's been no use for it. But this line over here, this has been used, and as you can see, we have signs here. Industrial district. Okay, so we get on a boat, and we go through the line over here. If you do it without hitting anything, it will take you about 7 seconds, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. And as you can see, we're on the very far end, like far western front of our area, of our compound. And when we exit the metro system on this side, we are right over here. Is that not crazy? On the industrial district, there's sugarcane farm and everything. So, over here is some farms my friend made. I do want to cover this up eventually. As you can see, the building is not too great, but I believe it's just mostly like stone farms and different stuff like that. Here's our little spruce area. We used to sell spruce to villagers or wood to villagers. Here's the old watchtower. This is where I started the video. Cool little watchtower. Haven't really used it ever since I got an elytra, but still cool. Now, this cherry forest right here, this was not here when we got here. Cherry forest, I don't even think they can get this big. The reason it's so big is because while I was building that building, on the inside I used a ton of cherry wood, so I had to chop cherry trees. And when I would get saplings, I would just replant it, and it ended up just filling up basically the entire mountain, except like that area, almost the entire mountain. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. This is our storage area. So as you can see, it is absolutely massive. It goes from, it literally is a multi-biome. That is absolutely insane, and I'm very proud of the color I made the roof. The roof, I have trauma from building this roof. It was gigantic. And I built a little pickaxe, diamond pickaxe on the roof. My friend thinks it's too dark, but I don't care. More Georgian flags. I think the architecture here is actually really impressive for my skills. I think it looks very beautiful. I do think that the deep slate, not the deep slate, whatever it's called, the polished basalt might be a little too dark for this, but I don't care. Now, if we enter over in here, under here we do have a giant little room place that my friend built, where he is working on a place where it'll be like our Commonwealth building, but underground and much larger because our current one is just kind of running out of space. So over here, we don't have room for every single item, but we have room for all the common variations of items. And we have stone there, and then wood, and it just goes all the way back here, and it just ends right here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Actually, I think it's very cool. It took me, I, it, this took me ages. I was watching the entire Breaking Bad show while building this, and I went from season 2 to the end of El Camino while building the thing. That's how many, you can calculate how much hours that is, but that is a long time. I know it's a long time. Now over here, this is where we enter the city. I am very much in the process of building the city. I have only built the exteriors yet, but I am still very proud of what I've built so far. So this is a little market area. We just have cool stuff here. I think it's pretty detailed. I do think it contrasts with the lack of detail the streets have so far, but trust me, I will fix that soon. And these beds took me a while to collect. So, as you can see, the city, now these lights, they automatically turn on at night. I'm also pretty bad at that. Anyway, as you can see, the city seems very small so far and unfinished. And it is very unfinished. So this is like a czar building. This is the first building I built. It's meant to seem pretty old since it's the first building I built. Very weathered. But I do think it looks pretty. Even though it lacks a lot of detail, it looks pretty. This is it's very like old-fashioned Paris inspired, as well as a lot of inspiration from smaller Spanish cities and southern Italian cities. Over here we have a more San Francisco inspired building with the balconies and then the round little things over here. Now this was not inspired. Now other than those two buildings, I don't necessarily have a direct city inspiration for the buildings. This I just built when the new update came out because I was inspired by the new Tough block. I thought it was very pretty, and I wanted to build something out of it. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the new map building later, but I don't know yet. This is meant to be sort of like a bank. Again, no interiors are built, so things are going to look a little bit weird. Over here is also this very quartzy building. Took me a while to collect the resources. Not weathered at all, meant to look very polished. This really contrasts with it in the weathering. As you can see, it looks like it's breaking apart. It's got the smoke coming out of here. Definitely a bit of a slum. Over here we have another pretty building. It is something I don't like about this world, by the way, is the height variations. Like, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors. 5 floors. Or we can be generous and call it 4.5. Oh, the light just turned on. That's pretty cool. And this is only like 2 floors, 3 floors, which is a big difference, but, you know, we can excuse it. People aren't going to be paying that much attention. So, as you can see, there's a tunnel going through here. And if you go to the other side of this tunnel, we will run into this little area. So this is meant to be sort of like a park, almost, and I will expand the city soon, and this park, I really am conflicted about it, and I'm not sure what to do exactly about it. Maybe you can comment about it, but it might not even stay. I might turn it into something completely different, like a housing district. Now, moving on over here, we have our barn. This farm took me a very long time to plant, and I am pretty proud of this barn, though. We got the barn door, the rolling barn door. We have the little crane over here in the storage area. We have a lot of bees over here, even though for some reason they don't produce honey, which I could not tell you. I really don't know why. I have a ton of wheat here, a ton of animals, and a couple of my best horses, and they are not very good though. Here we have a ton of horses over here. Because originally I wanted to do the speed potion glitch for the horses to make really fast horses. I wanted to use them for the subway, but obviously, unfortunately, that didn't work. So I just took all the horses that I used, which I just inbred these horses. Like, they're all descended from siblings, and I just bred them together for ages to create this whole family. And now they just live here. It's a little sad. This is meant to be like a wheat storage, like a silo type of thing. Pretty cool. But yeah, that's it with the barn. I am a little scared that I might have to demolish it so I can expand the city, because the city does not actually have that much space, as you can see. So I'm scared that I might have to expand it into the wheat farm to be able to expand the city and make it look more like a real city in terms of size. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So that sums it up for the main compound, but do not think we are done. We are barely even into it, because we have so much stuff that is not on our main compound. It is actually insane. Moving on over here, we have a part of my head. It used to be a map, but my friend demolished it for some reason. Little thing over there. Old portal. Over here we have our gold farm, and I can proudly say that I had zero contributions to this place. In fact, I actually broke it once and then made it harder for my friend to fix it. So that's pretty cool. It is a very efficient gold farm. I don't want to show it right now, but it gets you gold very, very quickly. So usually there isn't this much fog, by the way, but again, since the Optifine isn't out, I can't really optimize the fog settings without making it too laggy. Over here we have our Hoglin farm. This is where we get all our leather as well as all our pork chop. Now, first off, I want to show you guys the Ocean District. The Ocean District is a pretty insane place. It's where my friend has been spending the past 3 months building stuff. He hasn't been super active because of finals and everything, but still pretty active. So we got a bunch of farms over here. We got a huge mega creeper farm over there, drowned farm over there, gigantic, like incredible. We got an incredible iron farm over here. It produces so much iron. It is actually insane. Over here we have our little guardian farm. I built this whole collection chamber, but in reality I never actually needed it because I placed it in the nether, but you know, whatever, it's there. And we obviously got the raid farm over here where we farm, you know, different supplies. So over here we have our slime farm. If we enter this portal, we're going to enter the swamp. I spent a lot of time in the swamp, mainly digging up clay, because I needed it for the storage facility that I showed you guys. It uses a lot of bricks. But as you guys can see, we have our slime farm over here. It is very efficient. It produces a lot of slime, and I would highly recommend using this design. I'm pretty sure the design was from Shulkercraft. Now, moving on further down this road, we will reach our wither skeleton farm. So there's actually a funny story with this. Originally, we did not have a wither skeleton farm over here. We had to go down. We had a whole system where we would go down, and we had these chambers where we would farm wither skeletons, and we would reload the chunks. And it was a huge hassle, but it kind of worked. But it was very time consuming. But eventually my friend built this wither farm, which, fun fact, we did not have to slab up any nether to build this wither farm, which is absolutely fascinating. Most wither farms, you have to take like a month to just slab your whole nether. Here it's very efficient. This used to be full, this whole row, and it's so quick. I'm pretty sure it's also from Shulkercraft. We have a lot of Shulkercraft farms on the server. Now back at the portal, if we go in that direction and we follow this road of slabs, we will reach our little end portal. Well, our nether portal, which leads to our end portal at least. I decided to decorate our little end portal area because I do think the normal one is pretty ugly with the green stone and all of that. So I think this is pretty decently aesthetic. And if we jump through, my friend did try to build an obsidian farm, but he ultimately failed, so it's stuck like that. And we used to have a little shrine there too, but that's ruined. I do quarry up a lot of endstone for the roof of one of our buildings in the city, so that's why it's so flat over here. And this is where we kill our withers. We just put the soul sand down, put the heads on, we spawn the wither, and then it gets trapped in the bedrock, and then we just punch it and it dies. And it's also suffocating at the same time, so it's pretty efficient. Over here we have a little end portal area, and there we have our end farm. I think you've seen it, so I don't have to, our end farm. It's a pretty generic one, nothing really special about it, but it works. It's also funny because most end cities near us in like a 1,000 block radius, or like a 10,000 block radius actually, have been raided by us, so we have to travel very, very far if we need to go and find an end city to expand on our loot. Now over here we have our bartering farm. This is one of my favorite farms because it produces ender pearls, fire resistance potions, and soul speed books, infinite obsidian, infinite crying obsidian, infinite blackstone for building blocks, which is really cool. We got infinite leather, infinite quartz, although quartz is pretty slow and I often have to mine. Now the way this bartering farm works is I go into here, I put the gold in here, then I come down over here, I click this button, they take the gold and they barter it, then they throw it down, the hoppers detect that it's thrown down, and then it gives it a new one. And they just do that infinitely until it runs out, which is pretty cool. Now throughout our world we have a lot of places where it's just very unnatural looking because we quarried it out for resources. And I am planning on building a subway system, on a subway line that will connect our base with this area because this is where we get all of our sand. As you can see, we mined it so much we even took the sandstone out. That bed used to be dug down very deeply into the ground at sandstone, but since we quarried it so much that it's floating in the air now, and we haven't changed it since. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we dig this place out a lot. Um, we have quite a few quarry areas in the mesa too, but it's such a large area in terms of mountainous terrain that it's a little more difficult to spot and it's less obvious, but you can still see it. A lot of red sand missing there. Fun fact, when we were spawning our first wither, oh, as you can see it showed up on the bar there, when we were spawning our first wither, I can't find it right now, but when we were spawning him, we really wanted to fight him without the trap, so we spawned him near a nearby village, and he's been roaming around ever since, and it's been haunting me ever since I built the barn, that he might approach the barn recently, because he went from a village over there and traveled across over there, so clearly his range is enough to target the barn and completely destroy it. So we're just hoping that doesn't happen. If it does, I'm just gonna pretend that the barn is just an abandoned aesthetic type of thing. Thank you for watching. This is my first Minecraft video, so I'm not sure really like what to do and how to narrate well or how to edit well. So I would really like appreciate any feedback in the comments on how to fix any problems I might have. But thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you want YouTube to keep recommending you more Minecraft videos. I will be streaming at Twitch. My username should be displayed on screen right now, and you can watch over there. And I will maybe be making Minecraft videos here on YouTube, so that's another bonus. Anyways, thank you for watching, and goodbye.